Hello and welcome to another episode of the Happy Musicians Podcast, where it's not about getting the gig, it's about enjoying the gig. I'm your host, Tanner Guss, and this week I'm joined by Pedro Segundo. Pedro is just one of the most positive and uplifting people I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. We haven't known each other for too long, but we met here in New Orleans at a Stanton Moore gig, and I was just blown away at the light and energy that he gave off just being in the room and meeting people and then playing. It was amazing. And everyone who comes into contact with him shares this same sentiment, that there's just something special about how he lives his life and the way that he impacts others. So I'm so excited to have him on the show. I think from our conversation, you'll be able to pick up on that energy and positivity and hopefully be able to apply it in your own life. In our conversation, we talk about making meaningful connections with people, jam session etiquette and culture. We talk about enjoying the process and being patient. Thanks for being here. I hope you enjoy. And please welcome Pedro Segundo. Pedro Segundo, welcome to the Happy Musicians Podcast.
Hello, Tanner. It's nice to be here in New Orleans. And thanks for inviting me.
Of course. I can't think of someone who is a better fit. Every time you show up in the room, everyone is just so excited to see you because you bring such an amazing energy and a full experience to everything that you're in. And I know whenever you're playing, it just seems like you're completely immersed in the moment and you seem outside of yourself and your own interests, and you're serving the music and you're really interested in the other musicians and what they have to say. And I'm wondering, how do you get to that place? And have you always been there? Or is this something that you've just been able to get closer to over time and develop? And I guess, what are you thinking about when you are playing? You know?
Great. Well, thank you. That's great, kind words. And it's actually a joy. And I must say, before I answer your question, that New Orleans is a place that since the very first time I arrived here, it's just everything makes sense to me in terms of, I grew up in Lisbon and Portugal and then moved to London, and you are always studying the music from this town where everything developed here. So I think the part of the joy you see or you experienced here when you saw me play and sitting and just having a good time is the fact that I'm actually so happy to be here because the community is amazing. The musicianship of everyone is just out of the scale. And of course the food too, that does help, I think. Anyway, but that place comes from first and foremost is loving music making regardless of what we're doing. So I think I'm a lover of great music. So I'm classical trained, so I love all the music previous to jazz. So I love Mozart, Haydn, Bach, Beethoven, Handel. And as a drummer, I've studied that on timpani. So I have a relationship with reading that music. But when it comes to jazz, the only thing I have in my mind, of course, we have to do our homework. Am I speaking too quiet? Or this is
no, great.
Do the homework, understand the tradition, but don't be caught on that, on studying, be perfect about it. Be caught on wanting to be in a moment and serve what's happening on the bandstand. Especially in jam session situations, you are there to have a good time. So you have a better time if you give someone else a chance to say something and then you just try to meet them, Mm-hmm. That's my approach to music making, and I love to get to know new musicians, new drummers too, and so I hope that kind of answers it a little bit. Although there's so many variants for how to be in that stage.
Yeah. Well, one thing you said was doing your homework, but then when you come to the bandstand to play, letting that go and not having that be where your mind is at. You're not trying to play the certain licks that you transcribed or adhere to whatever traditional version is in your head. You need to serve what the music is like right there.
Yeah.
Have you found yourself in that trap before where you are playing and you're like, I'm trying to be this drummer right now instead of just being the drummer that this situation needs?
Yeah, well, exactly. Of course, I was that drummer because the way I learn jazz is by emulating. So that's the only way you can get to learn is just by copying it. So I remember being in Lisbon, and the turning point in my kind of love affair with jazz was when I was 14, 15. So I would go to every jam session at Hot Club in Lisbon, one of the oldest jazz clubs in Europe. And I would just emulate. So at that point, I wasn't really... I already had the joy of making music because I was playing all this stuff at that point. I started playing early, but that doesn't matter, You can, everyone has their own path. Doesn't mean that you don't start playing at 80 or, Anyway, but so I start just by emulating. So back then I could see I was much more focused on what I was doing. But I always, for some reason, to take the pressure off, I always try to... Okay, I might not be great at this swing thing yet or the structure. Those standards that go the extra 4 bars and you just, oh God, I always mess up on that form. And so I think for any musician or drummer that are listening to this podcast, I think it's good to try sometimes. Have your peers to help you. Let them help you. Also, as opposed to be against them, let them be of help. So when you're playing with a bass player, let him, especially if he's more experienced than you, which is a good thing. Always play with people that are more experienced than you. That's the best lesson I've had over the years, and I still force myself to be surrounded by bigger musicians. Then you can start taking the pressure off. Oh my God, am I going to do the right thing? So let them help you, and then you just find the balance, find the groove, and then don't try to put everything, in one place, because after all, most of the music is in 4 or 3, and you just have 4 beats to enjoy repeatedly, and then you can start adding some sugar to it, some flavor, And it's all about flavor and about, it's hard to talk about music without using adjectives and just mental images because, it's, music is sound, celebration of sound. And, but as far as a performance, I think I try to, in the beginning, of course, I was very much focused on my stuff, but to also allow yourself to hear beyond that. Allow yourself to listen to the other players. And I think ultimately, as a musician and as a drummer, more than knowing my own stuff, I think is how to activate your hearing, your listening. I think that's that's the biggest exercise we have, is how to listen. And that's what I've been spending time on.
Okay.
Spending time on listening. And when you listen, I think your intuition and your taste and your array of experiences that everyone will acquire in their lifetime, they will make this. You easily will come to solutions, music solutions, and hopefully good solutions. That when you were here last Monday, I sit in on a jam. It's with a singer. I'm happy. So you're gonna serve the lyrics. You're gonna listen to her so attentively. Gabi, right? Was it Gabi?
Yeah.
Fabulous. So once you lock into the bass, understand you are meeting for the first time. Hello, how are you? We don't have much time for which college did you go to? No. Okay, let's go. Play me your downbeat. Okay, I can work with that. Piano, leave him space. Singer. Okay, let's listen to what she has to say and just compliment it. Sometimes I love just not playing as well. Let the story start from nothing.
Right.
Let the brush slowly come in, or just play that in your mind and be part of the performance even without playing. Close your eyes and just be there. That's great. Just try to understand that that's only that moment. So that's kind of what I've been working on in order to enjoy myself and also make everyone around enjoy it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is very hard to answer these kind of answers, but this is what it comes to my mind right now.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I love that. And when you say listening, I think I am just now starting to scratch the surface on how immersive of a verb that is, you know? It's not just hearing what's going on. Listening, I think, encompasses hearing what people are doing, but also hearing why they're doing it, right? And when you are listening now, what all is encompassed in that? Like, what are you listening for? And how are you using that to make new decisions? Like, can you describe kind of what listening looks like for you?
Yeah, well, listening has changed so much. Also, because I must say, English is of course my second language, so I've been not only only learning music since I moved to London in 2007, but it has so my relationship with the words have improved too. So I'm now much better listener because also my experiences and also understanding the lyrics are, my level of understanding is so much better. I remember, I must tell you a story when I got to London. Because I got into the classical course at Guildhall School. So my teacher was David Corkill. So, and we were studying all the Beethoven symphonies, and it's just was already hard to listen, to learn that repertoire. But he was speaking like, Pedro, you must insist on thinking about this sound, and it was very proper. And I was like, oh God, I was totally fried after the day. I was because not only your brain was trying to understand where you wanted musically, and there was a lot of guessing work because I didn't really understand what he was saying. So it was hard. So that was kind of, and I still don't have a British accent. It's kind of a funny one, but anyway, my listening has changed dramatically, and it will be changing. It's always in improvement, I hope. But I think I play less now. I much more enjoy what I don't play. Because your brain sometimes, especially our instrument is so physical. We spend so much time working on rudiments and combinations, patterns, and orchestration within the drum kit. We are actually, every drummer nowadays, modern drummer, is so equipped to, my God, it's just like technically so advanced that I notice sometimes the simpler things are the harder, or to subtract ideas is the hardest thing, because we are so used, our muscle memory is so used to be so active, and music has changed so much. I remember being so influenced by, speaking of now, Pat Metheny album 2001 with Antonio Sanchez, and what a breath of fresh air it was. And I know from Antonio saying in his interviews that he had to subtract so much because he was at Berkeley and he wanted to be the next, we're influenced by the Dave Weckl sound, which I love Dave Weckl, and he has influenced the drumming community heavily. But then he started having to subtract because Danilo Perez told him, and like, no, this play just one cymbal and one snare, one bass drum. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm kind of my path or my goals is to subtract more than adding, of course. But then when you say that, you have to serve the music purpose and what are you doing? So I'm now saying this, but then if I get a gig tomorrow with David Beanie, I got to bring him some beef. He wants some content over there. He wants. Okay. All right, Pedro, I want you to really go for it and play. If that happened, But so listening is a continuous thing. You are always. I don't know how can I put this in the best way. I think I'm a better listener now, and. Thank God. And
well, what's better about how you listen now than you think how you listened in the past?
It's all that things I rate it now is the fact that understanding lyrics is the fact that I've listened to much more albums that I see how what your role is.
You have more informed decision making now
Exactly.
because you have those reference points.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I've played so much since 10 years ago,
Yeah.
I've played so much. One of the things that I like to do is throw myself out there and, I just hope for the best, and don't be afraid of that. We're all in this together. There's no shortcut to be a better listener. You just have to be out there. And I really prioritize being on the field. Don't spend so much time home just chatting for 10 hours, or I don't believe in that 10-hour thing. Perfect practice is, doesn't have to be 10 hours. It's better to have perfect practice where you're totally focused for 2-3 hours the most.
Yeah.
That's what I learned from some of the classical players. But so I believe in being on the ground and go see gigs, go listen, and close your eyes in a gig and see, wow, I'm trying to imagine myself in that bandstand. Look at how Brian Blade just paints. How does he just listen and love space and silence, Look at Manu Katché, just grooving with Peter Gabriel that way that he only can, I've got a lot of favorite moments in music history that connects me to that space, of listening and giving, and but it is a continuous process. That's the joy of it. It's like the musician I am now. I'm not going to be the same tomorrow. Everything is changing. It's always evolving. It's all energy, right?
Right.
The way we, we're always in constant change. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it sounds like you have some pretty specific personal examples of that space, or of these moments where like these drummers that you're emulating or trying to capture, they've found that space, and you have those in reference, and maybe you can't ever find those if you aren't listening to as much as you can, so that you can find more and more of these examples that really speak to you and that you can model.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Agree. Yes.
Oh, cool.
Oh, it's raining in New Orleans. I love it.
Always. It's, I think, really, it's easier to be positive and spontaneous and feel connected to the music when you're playing with really killing musicians who are in that space themselves. Do you find it frustrating or difficult when you're in a situation where you're playing with musicians who are maybe playing, who aren't in that space? So maybe they're less experienced, and because of that, they're focused on their own playing, and because they want to sound good, and they're at that point in their careers, or maybe they're just playing selfishly that day, or they don't have the spark or energy because they're tired or something. How do you find yourself in situations where you're frustrated like that, and is it harder for you to connect to the music, or are you able to move past that and you do your thing and hope they come with you?
That's a great question. Love it. All right, I'll give you an example. For so many years, the jam session format is an amazing thing, but also can be a very frustrating thing if you allow it to be. Not letting that frustration happen is very important, because I say, I used to spend so much time, for those that don't know, there's a jazz club in London called Ronnie Scott's, and that's kind of how I got into get my mileage when I moved to London, which then represented me getting the gig as the house drummer there in the club downstairs. So the jam session upstairs was an essential platform for me to acquire mileage and knowledge and all that. So being a jam session, nowadays I see it as a way of paying tribute to that format where you nurture your talent, and so many up-and-coming musicians come, and I'm always happy to go there and check in on them and see what's happening. Now, when you have less experienced people, where I really do appreciate is when there's that sense of, okay, I know I'm probably not the most experienced player yet, but I'm gonna be humble to let people around me direct. I like to shape the music in a moment, especially jam sessions. You have to create something new, as opposed, especially, you know what, Tanner, I notice a lot of great improvisers, they blow the hell out of their horns or whatever instrument they are playing. Then, as a collective, they struggle to finish the song. There's always that moment where, and they do a rallentando. Come on, we can actually create something. Let's create an end here.
Yeah, the stock endings all the time.
Yeah.
And
Well,
even then, like, they don't nail it,
yeah, tell me the sock. How does that sound? The sock.
Or like a tag and then
Yeah.
or those tropes.
Yeah. Well, if that is the case, that's a great example. But also, there's other tunes you can just take round and round and make someone blow. I always go for those moments. For me as a drummer, or it doesn't matter because I play drums. Well, it's a jam session. Let's get that right brain action going where you are being creative and just, yeah, man, let's just create, as opposed to just do a rallentando. No, just, come on.
There's like the Aversault style jam sessions where you count off the tune, start right on the head.
Yeah.
Everyone takes a bunch of choruses, playing as many notes as they can.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh yeah, we still have to play the melody.
Yeah.
Let's just get that out of the way. And
I think, well, you can do that a little bit, but I think it's important, just if you're at a jam session, try to create, that. Otherwise, what's the point? Play the melody solo. Also, change the way you do the solos. Start with the bass player. Start with drums, Also, don't always give the drummer just trades. Let him have a solo, a chorus for himself and actually lay off,
Yeah.
Don't get on, I like to explore it. So jam sessions are great. So I think as an unexperienced player, when I was growing up, I would just try to listen and give your input, and your energy. Bring your energy. So never go to a jam session as a burden. You better not be there. If you're feeling like no, come on. If you're feeling that, just go. The attitude for a jam session, in my view, just be as positive as possible, because you are creating, and that's the space you should be at. Okay, you are creating, so that's a gift. You are making things on the spot, and getting to learn about yourself, your potential, and also getting to learn other great musicians, not so great musicians, but they are so hungry to really learn. And it's not a competition, as we all know. So just really have a great time. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been to jams where it doesn't feel that way, where it does feel like a competition?
Oh, yeah.
And a cutting session where everyone's just kind of there watching, judging you, instead of celebrating each other's talents, they're just looking for faults. And
thankfully never in New Orleans. So
Yeah.
I must say New Orleans is a great environment of nurturing and supporting. So I've experienced in other places. I don't have to mention any names, but there has been places where especially maybe it has to do with the environment of the specific town or whatever, but in some places the jam session is kind of a more of a platform for, I don't know, it just gets on me, because we forget about music, especially when you have a song and you have 12 chords of each instrumentalist. It's like, okay, what are we doing here?
Right.
I have time to go for a pizza and come back, and you're still on the same song. I always think about the audience,
even in a jam session.
Yeah. Of course, because they are going to be our audience, hopefully, when you have your own projects, if that's what you want to nurture, you want to nurture not also our talent, but the audience. You want to make them engage with you, Something I dislike is when, for instance, in a jam session situation, we wait too long to play the next song.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do that. Oh, no, I don't know that. No. That happens everywhere. In Europe, I've been, it's very common. But it's also in some places, like if in Europe, for instance, the jam session is a kind of a very easy business platform, because they can just pay the house band and get people to play for free. And that's what sometimes it gets me. Some places that want to live off that, but but that's another question altogether.
Yeah.
I see the positive side, which is creating a platform for younger up and coming musicians to practice their craft. So yeah, there's one. Don't forget, it's still a show. It's still entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't know. People might say, no, you are there to entertain you, to have a good time, right? So,
Yeah.
whatever aesthetic it is, you're still performing. There is an audience. There's that connection between the musician and the listener. Okay.
Right. I totally agree. And I think if you can do the things that you suggest, like focusing on supporting the other musicians, serving the song, being creative and making it enjoyable for the listeners, if you have those things foremost in your mind instead of how good you're sounding and how impressive you can be, you're setting yourself up for a more enjoyable and just like a higher quality experience.
Yeah, and you're going to be employable. Which is ultimately what you want. You want to be known as someone that exactly does that.
Yeah.
Also very important for young musicians. Don't worry about changing the world. Straight away. Everyone has their own talent, but don't feel the pressure. Oh my God, I'm gonna be the badass. And all that. And I just been checking the latest gigs of such and such, and it's really the sound now. Do that, but also be intelligent enough to understand that probably that thing is not going to be serving that specific moment when you have your only slot at the jam session.
Yeah.
Be content by playing brushes. You were talking about that. Mm-hmm. Be content playing ballads. This is not just for drummers, this podcast. So I think it's important for any musician, just be content with playing a simple song. It's so nice to have that relationship of love with those things. Celebrate simplicity, celebrate space, celebrate the infinite, the most small detail. Celebrate that. It's so important. Also explore more for drummers, explore the dynamic of your instrument. Celebrate being intense at the low volume. I love doing that. That's what I have the most fun doing when I play drums. Is exploring exactly the full spectrum of the kit. From the snare drum alone. I have so many good memories in London playing with Jacob Smith, Kansas Smith. He just got invited to play with Lincoln Center actually.
Oh, awesome.
It's great. And Winton and he's the guy that would call me, Pedro, are you okay to do a gig in an hour? I said, yeah, fine. Just bring a snare. I said, are you sure? Yeah, just bring a snare. So I got so much mileage of playing snare, having a drum kit mentality. So I would actually represent the highs and lows of the the sound spectrum. So I have a hi-hat on the side of the snare, and then balance it out with the brush, and then intensity. When you have nowhere else to go, then you go to sticks.
Awesome.
You really explore that, and that's a great thing. I advise anyone to do, and go busk clarinet and snare, play tunes, and then you have the tambourine. You can put on your left foot. Be creative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dynamics, so good. Oh my God, love it.
Yeah, another thing that maybe never makes its way into the jam session. The dynamic.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, but that's, that's a very specific thing, the jam session. So, but again, having said that, the jam session serves as a beautiful, it's not a business card, it's a beautiful representation of who you are as a musician right there. So
yeah,
it's a great showcase of your, so you should really be sure what you want to say, so you can be called to play with other people. That's again, there's no shortcut for these things, and especially with singers. Singers love drummers that make them feel good. That's all you need, make them feel good. So let's work on that.
Yeah,
I'm keeping working on that, so it's a constant thing. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So nice to talk to you, man. Great questions.
Thanks. I'm excited to have you. So the reoccurring theme of the show is that it's not about getting the gig as much as it is about enjoying it. And we've talked about how more than that, it's about enjoying the process of getting to the gig. And I'm curious, how does someone love themselves for where they're at now, even though they have dreams of being so much better and being so much further along in music? Like, when you have that end goal in mind, how do you be content with where you're at and still be invigorated and excited about the person that you want to be, or the musician that you want to be?
Yeah. I think something I've been working, and I think I've been getting better in maybe the last 5 years, is to be patient. I think that's a key word, to be patient, because when you are in that space, you somehow you feel you have acceptance, and you accept where you are at. So yeah, be patient, because it grounds you much better for your next adventures in music, because you can, one thing is true, you cannot be in two places at the same time. So much happens when someone, there's so many musicians that are doing so well right now, and they struggle to be in two places at the same time because they are so good. So that's the other side of the coin. So for those listening, be aware that when you are also that good, you struggle to make it work because everyone wants you. So be patient means, just accept your path, and just leave a good impression whenever you go, if you can. And a good impression, I mean, you don't have to be, saying, being nice to everyone. No, just leave a good impression by being true to yourself, and just comes to music, you speak your heart, you be totally in a moment, and you don't have to care about what anyone thinks about you. You just do your own thing, have your own path, and be patient. So patient is about accepting where you are, be very critical, but not like punishing yourself. Be critical in the sense, I'm aware of that, and that, and I know exactly that's what and actually I write it down. So many times in London I had the diary, what I want to achieve, what I'm not good at yet, where are the musicians I want to play with, project that. It's so important to write it down. Somehow you just you get those thoughts out of your head into the paper. You organize much better. So
Do you think there's kind of a catch-22 between not caring what other people think about you, but you still need to get hired by people and make rent? So there is a sense of other people's perceptions of you mattering, and that you need to develop these relationships and connections so that you can actually have a career as a musician. And where's the balance between those two?
You make as many people happy as possible with your playing. So you don't have to worry. When I said don't worry about the thing, it's not like you don't care. I care in the sense that I just wanted to give them the best representation of what I do. That's what I care about, you see? And that's beyond words, or beyond saying, it's important to, be socially, have a code socially, which is I totally believe in, which is you say hi, you say goodbye, At least that. A lot of people don't have those social skills. I think they are essential for any profession, any environment, And of course, that comes with the territory. If you feel like saying more and is totally genuine, just be yourself, Say how much you loved someone's playing, and they'll probably say the same about you, but you never expect anything. So when it comes to be hired, just, okay, let's be practical here, okay? So you got here, New Orleans, and you're getting to learn a scene. I take take my case. I moved to London 2007. I'm hungry to play, and I'm still studying. Okay. What I do is I'll go show myself, and I will understand which kind of gigs are going. What are people sounding like? What's the repertoire? Also, because different towns have their own books, you know what I mean? They like their favorite songs and their tempos as well. London likes to play certain standards slightly faster than maybe here, New Orleans. So you have to understand that. It's not generalizing, but just an example. So to be employed, it's just it's very simple. People will like to have music in any town, and you grow with it, and then you start doing your jazz gigs and with your favorite guys, hopefully, or maybe older people, which is even better. And I start being invited, to play the jam sessions at Ronnie's. And that's how then I got the gig. And I was still very green, but yet I was so hungry and so into be there. So I thought, so that's all I have to say about this. You don't have to worry about them liking you or not. It's just they will understand who you are as a musician, and that's the most important thing. And then the work will come with that. No doubt. I have no doubt about it. I've seen many kids coming after me, and then they are already working and being really successful.
Right. So as a result of just knowing the music enough to where you're serving it appropriately, and then just not being worried about pleasing people, but about doing your job as a musician, like being true to yourself.
Yeah, but you please them musically.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's two separate things here. Is on the social level, pleasing them, which is a different thing. Okay. Which a lot of people saying, oh, he's just licking ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which there's a fine balance there. I think you don't have to do that to anyone. It just, you have to be nice, because we have to be nice to each other. This is a community. Mm-hmm. Now there's the other side where you go, oh my God, you are awesome, blah, blah, blah. No. I don't, you don't have to go there to appreciate something or someone, be yourself. There's no such a thing as what not to do or what to do. Just be yourself, enjoy the gig, say hello, say goodbye, and until next time. And I look forward to make music with you again. That's one of the things I love to say, because it's true. Mm-hmm. I would, if the day had 48 hours, I would be playing much more, and I would love that,
Yeah.
But sadly, as you start getting booked and be busy, which is what everyone wants to be at, and there's a catch-22 there too, because once you start being more successful and getting gigs for tours, you stop having those experiences that actually I love, which is being on community in the town and go to the jam session every Monday. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful thing, but you cannot have everything. So know what you can do, and know how you can be part of certain projects, and be versatile. It's very important. Be versatile. And never say no to, why don't you do something like that? No, you say, yeah, okay. Always able to accommodate what someone is asking, especially when it's someone else's gig, Right. It's so important. And also make them look good always. So many times when you are playing with other person, people come to you, I really enjoy to play with you, and to listen to you guys. And you always say thank you, and you always say, yeah, it's been a joy to play with such and such. It's their project. They are the reason you are there. Even though that a lot of people are frontmans too, but as a code, you respect. You should always acknowledge a person that books you.
Yeah.
The simple things like that, people really, it's really goes a long way.
Right. Okay? Well, and you mean it too, like because that's where your focus is on serving them.
Yeah, exactly. So, lots of work for everyone if you do that.
Amazing. Well, going along with that, you've gotten to a place in your career where I think a lot of the success or pillars of success and milestones that a lot of us are searching for, you've reached. You have, consistent work that is really fulfilling and endorsements, financial stability, critical acclaim. And I guess I'm curious if when you've reached these things of success that we're all working towards and that you've been working towards your career, are you happier as a result of it?
If I'm happier, I'm definitely happier because it's all these years you work so hard, but you're not working. You don't really know what's gonna happen. So when things like what you just mentioned start popping up, it's a little pat on your back. Just say, keep doing it. It's not like, oh my God, I made it. No, I never will probably think like that because you never really make it. You are acknowledged and you have a more sense of respect from your peers, and they know where you are at musically, and that's the most rewarding thing within the community to get. So I'm happier because, as you say, financial stability is important for you to be happy. I do believe in that. It's so nice when you're not stressing because you don't know when the next gig is, but also there's a lot of joy in that too. I just remember not knowing what the next gig is, and you just again bring your good vibe to the stage as opposed to be on a desperate place. What do you I read this, and I'm sure a lot of people will connect with this, is where you think you attract, right? So if I'm thinking on the fear-based fear, if I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm this good, nor if you're gonna call me again, oh God, that's a bad place to be. Just to try to approach the other place, which is, man, I might not be playing this gig again, but I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
God, it's so nice to play with these guys. It's just really cool. And it's up to them to call. You can always just say, hey, really enjoy making music with you guys. I hope there will be another opportunity. And you leave it at that. You don't say, oh, please, can you just fix the next, that desperation we feel as humans that, it's like, it's an animal thing. You just know when someone is vibrating in desperation and fear. So
yeah, it's off.
It's
putting you can pick up on that energy, and it's not something you want to be around.
Yeah, I suppose, just enjoy playing and just make sure they know you had a great time. So to answer your question, so yes, I feel happier because not that I wasn't happy before, but I feel happier because opportunities are bigger. And I'm always, keen to see what the next step is. Even though I'm so happy where I am right now, I make music with an amazing artist called Judith Owen. She's a great singer-songwriter that lives in New Orleans. Everyone should check her out. And I got to work with the great legend of the bass, which is Leland Sklar, for the last 5 years. And the best lessons are on the road, So to be on the road with Leland Sklar is like that chair at university you never had, which is how to be on the road. No one teaches you that, and it's not for everyone to be on the road. And I got to have amazing times with him, and still do. So I'm happier because you work so hard to be in that position, and I never planned that to be that way. Actually, in fact, if I was speaking to you 10 years ago, I was still probably wanting to be the timpani player or London Symphony Orchestra, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to play timpani. I love the repertoire, but I love to play drums too. So it's one of those things. You cannot have it all, but it's music. So that's why I still keep my options open. In London, I still play timpani when they call me for Baroque projects. So I'm really happy because I'm not closing myself into specific things, which probably will happen maybe if we talk in 10 years time, which is very nice to think about, or 20 years time to see what I've achieved. Probably I join a band or something like that. I'm really hungry to play bigger rooms as well. I enjoy that.
Okay. Yeah.
But nothing can replace really the intimate environment with Judith. I love playing with Judith because like every note counts. We did this gig at Ogden last week, Ogden Museum in New Orleans, and you can just really enjoy the room. So, but we'll see. It's an open book. All you can do is, enjoy the process and where you are at now, and always project good things. I would like to work with such and such, and maybe it will happen, maybe not, and it's all good, not a biggie. And also know your value as well. As you grow up and you start getting more profile, understand that you are special. Everyone is special. Everyone has their own trademark. So understand that, and you'll know exactly where your value is.
Yeah.
By talking to people around you, you always be aware, because this is where our profession too. It's not just for fun. It's fun, but it's work. So make sure you know your value as well. Very important. And that's a very hard lesson to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to hear that you are enjoying where you're at in your career, because I know there are plenty of people who have ambitious goals, and when they reach them, they don't necessarily feel any happier. They are still lost, and now they're searching for something different. But it sounds like you're enjoying it because even when you didn't have these things, you had a mindset of positivity already, and that you were just accepting where you were at and enjoying it for what it was. And now that you have these things, you're still doing that. And in addition to that, you have some freedoms and less stresses. And so you're able to enjoy it even more.
Yeah.
But you already had that habit and mindset.
I guess so. Yeah. If you practice it, it's like anything, get those paradiddles. With bass drum and snare, right?
Yeah.
Then it'll become really,
Your
fun.
positivity rudiments you've been shedding.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. You got to share that too. Yeah.
Yeah, you do have to, I think, practice positivity.
Exercise.
It's a muscle.
Like anything. Like being negative. It's the easiest thing. It's the easiest thing to be negative. Come on. Just look at the news. God, it's easy. But I decide not to, But not being oblivious as well. It's good not to be oblivious to what's going around us. But it's important then to know which side you want to channel. And I definitely, as a musician, feel the role of bringing some joy to people's lives, for a little bit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You talked about how you believe in always saying hello and goodbye. And you are, I think, the most exemplary, the most amazing socializer I've ever met. You seem to be so comfortable approaching everyone and getting to know them, even just complete strangers and like tourists. And it seems to come so naturally to you. And that's something I have a hard time doing, just going up and opening up to random people. And I think a lot of people struggle with those aspects of social anxiety. Have you always just been charismatic in that way, like comfortable talking to people, or have you gotten better over the years?
No, you started getting better. I think I grew up in Lisbon, and life is short. Just let's talk to people, because all we have is each other. So I don't like, I think it's important to connect, and also be sensitive enough when not to connect, because some people are doing their own thing. So I very early on, I really been very not it's not that being extrovert, but being very happy to communicate or say hi, or just have a good time just by talking to people, understand their journey, what they are up to. And also touring teaches you that. So many people wait so long to do the first move, of having a conversation, like neighbors, they wait a certain amount of money. Now, when you're on a tour, you have 1 day or 1 year, 1 day and a half, or maybe the most 48 hours to learn your neighborhood. So I have I have so many good experiences of, leave the hotel, say hi, and hey, what is this place at? And people, you connect with, like, a New Orleans, Tanner, is great for you to actually understand that, because, hey, baby, wow, you don't say hey, baby in London. They'll go, who are you? You are a weirdo. Prattly. So it also, so there's a cultural context here. I think growing up in Portugal, right, my parents are from Africa, from Mozambique as well, and they were born in the environment of, we are just having a good time, relax, sit back, we only have each other, just let's be nice to each other. So I grew up being, I guess I caught from them. Also my grandmother, Maria, she was a very happy girl, and she was very, I love her so much that she's the person that kind of was my role model to kind of make and always find the solution, not the problem kind of thing,
Okay.
And socially that comes across, because when you say hi, you're making a decision of, I want to connect in a good way, positively, and just, so that's how I haven't improved. I just been like that, since always. And people, you are in the wrong business. You should be in I don't know, marketing or whatever. No, we are musicians are working people because we have to do everything ourselves. So, you should if you have the skill of being sociable, use it to your own advantage. Sociable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'm very quiet too. Not always. It's like yin and yang. You're not always there. I really appreciate my quiet time. As I said, like in music, when I play drums, I really appreciate when I don't say anything. So having a sense of opportunity when to say something, don't be afraid of being quiet. Sometimes it's very good. So, but by traveling, you get to really learn. And I've been in so many countries now in 10 years that I just instantly know how certain cultures act. So you just respect that as well. So that only comes with experience, being out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you. That's a great compliment. And I do enjoy, the straight answer to your question is the fact that we are here now and we don't know if we are here tomorrow. So I might as well, talk to people around me and just see what they are at. What's their journey? What are you up to? Like yourself, like we met,
Yeah.
I met at Stanton Moore gig, and I know you new in town, and I'm not from New Orleans. I still felt the need to say welcome, because it's a big thing to move to a new town. And I know that because I've been there too.
Yeah.
So to have that support, it's just priceless,
Definitely.
And it's priceless to feel that support of the community. So yeah, so I'm going to keep being like that.
So now, because you had that, you just like to share that with other people, that support.
Absolutely.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, make people feel at ease too, like you know that, you can feel so tense when you don't know the players, and let's just talk beyond jazz, like anything, like going to university, do maths, or, they don't have that opportunity to connect on the stage, right? So it takes forever for someone to make a meaningful connection. We are lucky as musicians. We have a meaningful connection at one click when you're on stage. We can make music. Man, that's a beautiful gift.
Yeah.
That's why I never waste an opportunity of making the best music possible in any situation. Don't lose any second of your life playing stuff that you're not enjoying. If you're not enjoying, try to see what's wrong. Sometimes it's not you, Sometimes it's you. So try to address those things as quick as possible. Don't waste any time. We might not be here tomorrow. That's for sure.
Absolutely. That's the truth. Well, cool. Are there any other things that you feel like addressing? Like things from your career past that you've dealt with that you think you want to bring up or share? And if nothing comes to mind, we can...
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
For instance, there will be a moment where you will be faced with things such as not being able to continue with the project, and you have two options: either be mad at them or totally be supportive and just understand whatever the situations were, I'm not going to be part of that. Okay? So the best way, you guys that are listening, you probably happened to you already, which is the fact that there will be some gigs you're not going to be able to be part of, and then the band leader will be like, oh, you have to commit more, that conversation everyone, I'm sure, have listened to. So I would like to share that I think the most successful and positive outcome of these situations is you say yes, and I agree with you, and I will help you find someone, as opposed, I don't give a damn about, I'm just gonna leave. Blah, 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 blah. No, no point. So she said, yeah, great. Let me help you find you someone. And there's a great door there, which is you never kind of close the door. You kind of leave it open because circumstances didn't allow you to continue with that certain project. So you just be positive about it still, even though it's not probably going to be your gig ever again.
Yeah.
But you know that until that point, you gave the best you had,
Right.
So, and then you also gave someone else, hopefully younger than you, so they can learn an opportunity. So that's a great thing. Probably doesn't apply to you now, but at certain point it will happen.
Yeah.
Because that's just the nature of the music business. Because you are, especially when you are versatile and you like to play a lot of different stuff, that's gonna happen.
Okay.
So you have to pick your battles wisely. So battles with no aggressiveness. Just be give someone else a gig. That's great. Pass it on, because nothing is ours. There's no such a thing. This is my gig. No, and I learned that lesson really quickly. After I couldn't do certain things. No gig is yours. So enjoy it while it's there.
Yeah. Cool.
And just try to be in the game, and also if you stopping doing something for another thing, make sure the other thing it's also stable enough for you to but never put your eggs in one basket as well.
Very cool.
So I hope that's a good
No, that's great
piece of advice.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people go like, yeah, this is my guys, and yeah, great. You might even play for them forever, but have some other sort of thing going, because after all, we are freelancers. So there's a big risk, also a big fulfillment of being in that risk. It's great. It's great. So yeah, that's a piece of advice I could share. That has happened to me, and I've learned, and I think I did well by just accepting it and get someone else a gig and experience. Yeah,
Very cool. Love
especially
it, man.
younger people. Because we were there people at some point, and I never forget people that gave me opportunities to play in London and Lisbon, Portugal. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to bring us to our Coda question round.
Yeah.
So these are our 5 short answer questions that I ask everyone who's on the show.
Yeah.
And we'll jump right in. The first one being, what is your go-to feel-good album?
There's several I could say. Actually, does it have to be jazz?
No, not at all.
Right?
It's definitely not a...
Can I say 2 albums?
All out.
All right, are you sure? I like Peter Gabriel's So album with Manu Katché on drums.
Okay.
It just makes me feel really pumped because I was 10 years old when I listened to it, and that changed my life. And I like Bernardo Sassetti. He's a pianist from Portugal, trio, and recording 2000 something, and is an album that also influenced me a lot because he's no longer with us. He was a brilliant mind, and I got to meet his music when I was doing a summer course in Barcelona, and I was staying with this sort of godmother, so she kind of put me in touch with him, and that album just Bernardo Sassetti trio, in Belgaix, in a Portuguese studio that was just a farm. I could say so many more that I go to, but they make me feel in love with playing and life affirming. I love it. Yeah.
Perfect. What's the best advice about happiness that you've received?
Just play the happy beat. What's the best advice about happiness? I don't know, maybe Maybe my grandma is a role model. Maybe, you know, she had such a positive. She went through so much stuff in her life that she had all the recipe for being skeptical and sad, and she just. I think she really passed me a message of, yeah, just yeah, smile to your day, you know. Smile, or maybe let's just take actually I take an example. Actually I can say current example of being happy is from Jamison Ross, the drummer that lived in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Thankful for another day and hopeful for tomorrow. That's a great way of facing life. So thank you, Jameson, for that. And it's just a reminder, you know, of a lot of people through your life. Like people, like I remember being. It's not really about happy, but supportive and just like keep on going, keep on keeping on, kind of thing. And a lot of people through the years had that influence on me. I could say many names now. Comes to mind. When Brentford Marsalis at Ronnie's actually said, "Yeah, man, you're on the path, and work on such and such things, and you're on the path." And you know, it's not that I'm calling him all the time, but that little 2 sentences he said, I kind of like, yeah, thank you, make me happy.
Yeah, take the little victories as they come.
Yeah, and just you know, lock them in your heart and make sure you know you don't forget about those things because they are the fuel of your you know for your next experiences, you know.
For sure.
And have your head down when you listen to that. No, let your ego take it in a very good way, you know. Let that, okay, I'm proud of that. Let keep my head down now and I carry on with my good work. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Who's a musician in your life who's living a happy, healthy, and fulfilled existence, you know, making music from that place?
Yeah. Well, Jamison Ross is.
Yeah.
For instance, is great. Jameson, I love you. We met many years ago, actually, in Ronnie Scott's.
Oh, awesome.
He's the guy that gave me the Charles Wilcoxon solos for snare.
Oh.
I never heard about that 10 years ago. And I go, man, you should get this. And he gave me the book. You know, he's a great example of little actions that can make a big change in your life. So he did that to me. And now we kind of, you know, doing our own path, and now we are kind of reconnecting again after these years, and that's but we need to support each other, and Jameson is one of those guys. Leland Sklar is a great example too. It's not like he's like the happy clappy guy, but he has a very positive, healthy, and pragmatic way of living, you know. He's a great example of. He can be also very angry, especially with the political climate, as if you follow him on Facebook. But he's been a great example of. It's not like being happy for the happy sake, you know. It's just, yeah, have some fundamental. How can I put this in a better way? So, be comfortable where you are, and it's funny because. You know, it doesn't have to be smiling all the time to be happy. You know what I mean? Just be content. You know what I mean? Be content and be happy to what you have. And no, that's a good example. Also, someone else that I could mention. And there's a lot of people around that, but maybe those guys comes to mind more recent experiences. Also, you know, a family environment that is very important too. I should say. Yeah, that's it. I cannot remember anyone else now, top of my head, but it's true. You don't find, sadly, don't find so many people like that. Actually, you know.
Yeah,
It's not easy. It's not easy because you know we are sometimes so trapped into our own stuff. Oh my God, what's the next thing? I don't really enjoy the process. Yeah, but Grandma Maria, for sure. She's a great source of inspiration.
Yeah.
to have a positive approach. Yeah.
Perfect.
Positive, attitude.
Well, the next one is if you could give one piece of advice to a young musician starting their career, what would it be?
Well done for choosing this path. you are on the right track, because if you decide to do this, is because you know that you have something to say, and let your voice grow step by step, and don't try shortcut. Just enjoy the process and be patient. Be patient is the best advice. And do your homework, you know and find people that you like to play with, and don't if you can, in the beginning, don't worry about just we all need to live and survive and all that, but just enjoying being surrounded by great musical experiences. Don't limit yourself, and the work will come. The work will come, I assure you. You do the right homework, the work will come. Find your pocket, find what you are good at, find that and embrace it 150%. And yeah, that's it. And don't practice, but be out there more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, live a life.
Yeah, enjoy not playing drums. Enjoy reading if you can. So hard nowadays to have time for 5 pages. Mm-hmm. When was the last time someone read 5 pages, in one row? I don't, it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard. So do something, learn about other stuff, learn about things beyond music, Try to, because when you come back to the drum kit after you do that, it's so much more fulfilling. That feeling when you go to Christmas holidays, they kind of stop playing the drums. I had that feeling, or holidays, like summer holidays. I would go to the south of Portugal, just beach, enjoy the sun, Probably the sun is also very important, I guess. That's why I probably am happy. A lot of vitamin D in those teenage years. Yeah, it does affect you, man. With your environment, your geography, where you grew up, it does affect you. So, yeah, if you are listening and you're just starting out or just already in the process of going to college, be patient, enjoy practicing, but also enjoy playing with other people, and work will come as a result.
Beautiful. And the last one is, what is your purpose as a musician?
My purpose as a musician? Well, my first and foremost purpose is to make people have a good time, and and for a couple hours, let them be in the room with you and somehow forget what's going on. That's a kind of a very positive, naive way, of course, of thinking, because not everyone is ready sometimes to just have a good time, Yeah. So, having said that, kind of my purpose is also, that's the purpose. And beyond the stage is just, try to remind ourselves we need each other. We cannot do this alone. Community is key for anything. So, New Orleans, you are the place for community, and I'm really impressed. And I fell in love. I wrote a song called "I See the Joy Now," which is exactly as a result of when I got to New Orleans the first time. I was like, okay, I see it now. I see the joy now. So it's kind of a little tribute to that feeling. So I'm happy you are here. So this is a great place to, I think, to nurture not only musical values, but personal values too.
Yeah. I'm happy to be here too.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. Thank you. Now, if you want to take this second, you're welcome to plug any projects you have coming up, any upcoming shows, places online. People can go to check more out you're playing and more about you.
Yeah.
You're welcome to let the people know.
Well, there's a personal project I've been working for a couple of years, which is Hammond organ and drums, percussion. You can check on Bandcamp on my website, pedrosegundo.com or pedrosegundo.com. That is an ongoing project, and you can check that out. And also check my project, not my project, but Judith Owen's project, where I get the chance to be featured all over the world, where we travel. So find about her music, and also, that's pretty much it. And the usual Instagram, I try to be better at it, and try to also have a life. So I'm trying to be good at prioritizing it wisely. Find time to do it, but also, have a life.
Yeah. Well, great.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Tanner. It's been so nice to talk to you.
Yeah. Loved having you on the show. Grateful to have you in my life, and I'm grateful to share your message and positivity with everyone. So thanks for being here.
I have one more thing to say. Please sign up to my newsletter, because I'll send a couple a year. It's on my website. So I try to put people on the loop about what I do. So
cool.
Sign up to it, so you'll know.
Amazing. Pedro, thanks for being here.
Okay, ciao, ciao. Thank you so much.
All right, that does it for this week's episode of the Happy Musicians Podcast. The track you're listening to is from Pedro's duo album with organist Ross Stanley. It's their Live at Kansas Smitty's album, and this is the track The Lady of Almortau. You can find the link to it and everything else we talked about in the show at our website, thehappymusicians.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram as The Happy Musicians. I hope you got value out of this episode, and if you did, you can help spread the message by subscribing to the show, giving us a rating or a review. You can tell your friends about it, and you can share it on social media. Thank you all so much for your time and your attention. I hope to see you again next week, and stay happy.